Now, our deeper dive today is going to be management by data on the financial side. So these are some metrics that I always like to look at, and I challenge you to look at these too. If you don't know these numbers, go back to your company and find out what they are. I guarantee you, if you don't know, you'll be surprised at the result. Order to cash cycle. That's simply how long from the day you receive an order from a customer till the money for that order is in the bank. I had a Fortune 500 divisional president tell me one time, the transaction is not over till the cash is in the bank. I thought, well, I'm not responsible for all those things, but yet I am, and just as you are. Transactions have to be completed. Getting your money is as important as delivering the product or service. Someone bought it from you, they have to pay for it too. So many companies, that order to cash cycle is over 100 days. I've seen it be as high as 120, 130 days. That's a long time to be strung out. So we work on compressing that order to cash cycle. You may need to invoice differently. You may need to change your terms. You may need to shorten your supply channel time. You may need to use fewer vendors that might even cost you a little more in the short run, but pays off in the long run. You have to be willing to pay more for a service that's valuable to your core business. So order to cash cycle, very important. The next one, accounts receivable. We think of accounts receivable as just a function that has to be done within the company. But every dollar you have in your accounts receivable is your money that's in somebody else's hands. So any excess accounts receivable that's in your business is cash that's not being deployed back into your business for growth. So you're financing your customers. So if you don't know what your accounts receivable days outstanding are, you need to know that number, and you need to know it by key customer as well. Some customers may not be worth retaining. There are other customers out there who are willing to pay you, and that's the customers you want. Accounts payable, the flip side, how fast do you pay your vendors? I've gone into many companies that were in trouble. They'd collected all their money from their customers and hadn't paid any of their vendors. I've been in very successful companies who had all this outstanding receivables and had paid all of their vendors. Neither company had the right balance. Both companies had working capital issues. So we try to talk about the balance and getting the working capital right. Inventory is another example. Is all of your profit tied up in your inventory? As a manufacturer, I always wanted to have a lot of inventory so I could respond quickly to sales, so I could respond quickly to produce a product. But we talk about optimizing inventory. Again, not minimizing, but optimizing. What's the right balance? In our example we talked about earlier, our $50 million manufacturer couldn't believe that they could actually pull their inventory back that much, $4 million worth, without affecting their customer delivery. They surprised themselves. You need to surprise yourself on what you can do when you optimize your inventory. Very critical for manufacturers, wholesalers, and distributors. Working capital is where most of your growth financing is going to come from. If you can pull $3 or $4 or $5 million back into your business, if you're a $50 or $75 million company, that's significant to add a product line, to build a new facility, to penetrate a new market. That's all money that you can reinvest back in your company. Capital structure. Often I see companies that have their capital structure turned around. Their short-term and long-term debts reversed. They've got too much or sometimes too little equity. You need to look at what your capital structure is and optimize that for not only where you're at today, but where you're planning to be over the next 2 to 3 years. Contribution margin. We talked a little bit earlier about that. I can't overemphasize, in very successful companies, understand their contribution margin. They really understand what they're going to gain from that next dollar of sales. That's enough knowledge to be able to get a new product line launched, to get a new marketing channel developed, to add new customers that your competitors can't figure out how to do. That's a very critical measurement. And again, we mentioned EBITDA because that's so important as your theoretical cash flow. That's a number that everyone focuses on externally, you need to focus on it internally as well. This is sort of a busy spreadsheet, but it's sort of a summary of these factors we've talked about in our management by data. In this particular company, they had a potential to increase $4.6 million just through working capital changes. Often business owners don't want to focus on their balance sheet, don't want to focus on how their cash flow. They only look at their income statement. The income statement tells you how you did for one period. The balance sheet is your living, breathing document of how that business is financed and where all of your cash is at any point in time. So if you can bring $4.6 million back into your business through working capital improvements, that's very significant. This company also had a potential for $800,000 earnings improvement, which is strong as well. Getting that one-time cash in when you re-optimize your balance sheet is critical to growth.